welcome back to my channel. So today I want to make this video that's kind of just a realization I've just had recently, and I kind of want to share it with you all because I think some of you might be in similar situations and maybe this can help, maybe this can provide you support, or at least like let you know you're not alone or something. So first of all, I want to apologize because the sound is back to original quality, which was a little bit crappier than what I've been putting out lately because I usually use my phone to record, but there's a few things on my phone that I need to refer back to so I can actually record at the same time. So this is just mic quality from the camera, and it's not the greatest, but I apologize. Anyways, so if you read the title, then you know I'm basically like wanting to share something I've never truly shared or mentioned because well, it's complex. Basically, I want to talk to you guys about my eating disorder, and it's taken me a long time for me to be able to like recognize it as an eating disorder, be able to label it as one, because I feel like just everyone just thinks that eating disorder is either like anorexia nervosa or like bulimia nervosa or like binge eating disorder, right? But like those are the only ones you really know about. There's also like orthorexia that's becoming a little bit more known, but there's just like a very finite amount of eating disorders that are actually like publicized, or that are the people are only aware of, basically. What I do suffer from is a little bit different, and if you've been following me for a while and you saw like my fitness videos and like things like that, then you might have been one of the people who commented, or like people who thought about like the way I was eating and kind of like having questions and like being kind of weirded out by the way I was feeding myself, right? And I want to explain to you what I have, like how it's been in my life, and kind of how I've been healing from that a little bit. So what I have is called Avoidant Restrictive Food Intake Disorder, so ARFID. It used to be called Selective Eating Disorder, SED, but I think they deleted that. And it's basically also often referred to as food neophobia. And what it is, basically, like you've probably heard me say like I'm picky or like things like that, but yeah, it just took a long time for me to realize that like it wasn't eating disorder, or because it's just not something that a lot of healthcare professionals are even aware of, and it's definitely not something that like you find very easily online. But basically it's, well, let me just read off of the internet because the internet knows best. It's a type of eating and feeding disorder where the consumption of certain food is limited based on the food's appearance, smell, taste, texture, brand, presentation, or past negative experience. And basically that's what I've been suffering from my whole life, and I've talked about it without knowing it was an actual eating disorder, but I've talked about it a lot with people in my life. But basically I've been bullied because of the way I ate food when I was younger. I've completely restricted myself from eating in public for a very long time and avoiding any kind of social situation because of that, and it has really impaired like my social life and just like the quality of my life in general. I've never been able to appreciate food. I've never had an interest for food. I kind of like, I was eating because I had to, right? I never appreciated food. I never like savored food. It was always about just like feeding myself so I don't die. So basically when you have ARFID, like you usually like really bland stuff, like you don't have a lot of taste. You've probably heard me also mention that I had like hypersensitivity, and like that's kind of what it is, except it's probably more psychological, although there may be like some kind of physiological differences as well in like the way your body actually perceives taste. But basically it's being very sensitive to like different textures and tastes, and like really liking like bland food. Like you don't like very texturized things or mixing textures, and like everybody's a little bit different when they do suffer from this. Like some people just cannot mix certain foods together, you know, like it's very case by case scenario. So basically my whole life all I've been eating was like pastas and cheese. Yeah, like that was the only thing, like pastas, breads, cheese. That was pretty much the only thing that would actually be okay with me. And like like, you know, I have anxiety and stuff, and like I would be like actually anxious, like trying new things, and like so scared. Like it was a phobia. It was food neophobia, which is like new food, right? So like I just couldn't bring myself to try new things, and I've been bullied into trying things I didn't want to, and I feel like that just kept on adding to the trauma. And I know that sounds silly, but when I was a kid, like at family gatherings and stuff, um, like my aunts and uncles would really pressure me into trying things I didn't want to try and I couldn't try, and bullying me and like telling me I was a bad kid for not being able to try or to eat the foods that they wanted me to. And also, I ended up talking to Tim's dad about this, since he's a doctor, and he told me he knew I suffered from ARFID because the first few times he offered me to try new foods, he saw my anxiety just show like very fast. And he's been very careful and accommodating with my special needs, as to not traumatize me further ever since then. And he's really glad that I finally figured it out for myself, because he was kind of scared to tell me because he didn't want to like scare me or things like that. So yeah, he's really happy I ended up finding out, and that now we can like work towards making it better. And also, I just want to mention, it is true. Like every single time somebody offers me to try something I've never tried, especially if it's somebody I'm not very comfortable explaining how I feel, or that doesn't know how picky I am, quote unquote, I get so stressed so fast. Like my anxiety, I'm like near anxiety attacking every time. So I try to avoid these situations like plague. That was kind of the root of me like being very socially anxious about eating in public. And then like from then on, like even like by the end of elementary school, I couldn't eat in public, so I would eat in the bathroom or I wouldn't eat. And then through like middle school and high school, I spent most times, like every time I ate in public, like people would actually pass comments on what I was eating, because I would eat like a plain croissant and like a little tub of like banana baby food, and that would be like my entire meal. And people would like judge me so much for that. Then like I just stopped eating altogether and just skipped lunch, like didn't show up and didn't bring food and things like that. So it did impair my health, and like definitely my mental health too, because it was a lot of pressure and it was very stressful, and I had to always avoid situations in which food might be involved, which is kind of difficult because it's one of the main social things that we do. And from what I've read online, sometimes it coincides with like autism, but also OCD. And as you all know, like my sister suffers from actual OCD, and I have like kind of OCD tendencies. I don't think they're very life impairing, but I do have kind of like little obsessions that are in compulsivities in my life, mainly caused by my anxiety and like growing up around OCD, I guess. And basically online it says that like the few common effects are like nutrient deficiency, obviously, because like by eating such a small variety of food, like you really can't get all the nutrients you need. And I know for a fact that I was very deficient, especially in high school, because I remember like my skin was almost like see-through. Like I'm a naturally like tan person, and even in the winter, like in Canada, like obviously I get paler, but like this was like paler than pale. Like I had the darkest dark circles, and there was nothing I could do like to cover them, no matter how much stuff I put on my face. Like you could still see through my skin. But yeah, like I was extremely pale, and like unhealthily pale, and I had the darkest circles, and I was shivering 24/7. And especially when I was eating, like there was nothing, I was always cold. So obviously like I was definitely nutrient deficient then. And it also has like a very big like psychosocial interference, which is like kind of like any kind of social events and how you feel in social situations, like I've mentioned before. And another big thing is like it's often linked to anxiety, and obviously like I'm a very anxious person, and I've talked about this before, so this kind of helps like bring a wholer picture, because I've spent my whole life just thinking like there was something wrong with me, or that I was just like being like stupid or immature for like struggling like this. And now I know like it's a real issue, and nobody ever took it seriously enough to like do anything about it. So yeah, so like this is pretty much like what my experience has been. I don't want to self-diagnose that I've had like binge eating disorder or anything, but I can also say that I've struggled with very large binging periods whenever I've been in depression. So whenever I've been in the lower parts of suffering from depression, I've always gained a lot of weight and like ate food uncontrollably. And the more I read on binge eating disorder, the more I can kind of associate it with how I felt. But I was also depressed, so I don't know if I had binge eating disorder, but I definitely had binging episodes. And still to this day, I always end up having a binging episode when I am under large stress. Any kind of distress causes me to eat a lot. And I eat like until I'm like very uncomfortably full, and like sometimes I'm like in my bed like just holding my stomach because I'm in actual physical pain, and we're talking like several times a week when I'm in depressed states. And I can't control myself, and I'm not even hungry, but I just like I just scavenge basically, and I just eat absolutely everything I can find, even things that I don't even like. So yeah. Anyways, I've been doing better now. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the backstory, plus kind of like a little bit of details on like the eating disorder and like kind of my experience and everything. Now, before I let you all go, I kind of want to tell you how I've been getting better, and now I plan on getting even better. So, like I said, for most of my life, my diet consisted basically of refined starches, like bread and pastas and cheese. And that was like over 90% of what I ate. And things changed a little bit, especially since I met Tim, my husband. So he is very passionate about food. He really enjoys food, and food is like an actual passion for him. So it was very weird for me to like be dating somebody who cares so much about food when I've basically spent my whole life thinking eating was a chore. Not an actual hobby. So yeah, so it was very eye-opening for me to be dating him. And I think what really made a difference is like I kind of explained how I felt about food, even though like neither of us really had a clear idea of what was going on with me, but like still I was able to kind of formulate how I feel about food and how scared it makes me, and like how it's very difficult for me to try new things, and how pressure really stresses me, and how I've been bullied into eating things before, and bullied for not eating things as well. And that went beyond my family, like some people at school too, but mainly my family. So yeah, so like he was very, very understanding, and he was very supportive, and he never pushed me, he never forced me to try anything. But because I was exposed to a bunch of new things, seeing him enjoy it so much, I feel like every now and then like I would try something of his, you know, like I tried shawarma, and I tried like fried rice, and I tried like little things, and I mean like it's not great progress, but it's still progress. And even though this sounds like silly, oh wow, congratulations, you now eat bananas, but or like grapes, but for me it's a huge progress. I remember like after a few months of dating, when I went home and I like ate new food, like my family couldn't believe it. Like I'm talking about my parents. My parents never really pressured me, but they couldn't believe it. They were like, how do you eat this? And like last time, like, you know, like I transitioned from white bread to whole wheat bread, which is huge deal for me. And like my parents wouldn't even believe me. Like I showed up with whole wheat bread, and they were like what are you doing? And I'm like, well, that's what I eat now. And they didn't believe me. So I ate it in front of them, and they were like, whoa. And same, even my grandparents are always like very proud whenever I show up and eating something new, because it's a big step. And I feel like none of my family ever really knew what was wrong with me either up until now. but they were still very supportive. Like my grandparents and my parents were very, very supportive. So they never like pressured me or made me feel bad about my issues, which definitely helped, because I feel like the more ashamed you feel, the worse it gets. Because the worst parts of my eating disorder, like the parts where I got very deficient, is when I was ashamed and I would like prevent myself from eating and like restrict myself from eating in public because I was so ashamed. So you obviously need to have like a strong support system in order to like be able to sustain yourself in that way, and then hopefully eventually you can get better. I've read a lot of stuff online that says that CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, helps a lot. Hypnotherapy may help as well as support groups. I've never actually tried any of those things, but the main thing that did help me was Tim just being very patient and kind of showing me how enjoying food can be real, and how like food should be enjoyed and appreciated and should taste good and should make you happy, which was never how I grew up thinking. I'm obviously very, very far from eating a normal diet or eating like normal foods, but at least now that I'm aware, I can take serious steps towards getting better. And I've been contemplating like transitioning to veganism, which was very, very daunting for me, because like it means I can't eat like basically any of the stuff that I've ever eaten my entire life. It's about like rewriting my entire diet, and that's extremely, extremely scary. So I'm going to do it very progressively and hopefully with tons of support that's going to help. And yeah, I don't know what this video is about, honestly. Like, it's just like I discovered this, and I feel like maybe there's like, it's a very rare thing, so I don't think like all of you suffer from this or something like that, right? But like I just found out, or I just realized that that's what my life has been about my whole life, and maybe one of you will actually recognize themselves in what I'm saying right now. So hopefully like this can inform you, enlighten you, and help you like realize that you're not alone, and now that you have like a better idea of what you might be suffering from, maybe you can get the proper help. That's it. I feel really awkward. Like, I've never really shared that much about this subject because it was always something that made me feel very uncomfortable, like way more uncomfortable than talking to you guys about like depression, anxiety, and suicide for some reason. But it's still something that I deep down inside like feel like I should be ashamed of, or that I'm being immature for feeling like. And even though now I know that it's an actual disorder, that it's not just like me being like silly and me being stubborn. I don't know, I've just been I've just been judged my whole life for this, and I've just always been telling myself that there was something wrong with me, or that I was just stupid, or that I should just grow a pair or something. That they're like, yeah, I don't remember what I was thinking. Sorry, I just woke up from a nap, so I apologize. But yeah, this is what I wanted to share today. I'm sorry this was kind of all over the place. I didn't really plan this video out. It's just like I've come in light of new information, and I really needed to share it with you all, so some of you may benefit from what I just learned. And so those of you who were worried about me, like when they saw what I ate and things like that, may have a better idea of what's up with me. And like, just let me know if you want me to like kind of keep you guys updated on my progress towards that. But I don't feel like it's something that interesting, but I mean, it's just good to know. Plus, I'm very open about everything that's wrong with me on this channel, so yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it to that, because I've been trying to like close this video off for like the past like 5 minutes. So yeah, thanks for watching. I love you guys, and stay tuned for more videos coming soon. Thumbs up, I love you, and I will see you all in another video. Bye!